After all the pre-order chaos, all of the clamoring for limited units, it seems like Nintendo is doing fans right, bringing extra stock of the SNES Classic and even bringing back the NES Classic. What's going on, guys and girls? It is Zach from Switch Force. I've got Jake here alongside me, and Nintendo came out with some real feel-good news. Now, it's TBD on how this actually plays out. You do have to be a little cautious because there are no specific numbers given, but they do say that due to incredible demand, they are going to ship more SNES Classic editions on launch day in the US than they shipped NES Classics all last year. So they are really bringing the stock for that September 29th release date. Pre-orders were insane across the board. It seemed like it was going to be the hottest and hardest to get item, and it still, frankly, will probably be difficult to acquire during the holiday season. But Nintendo assures us that they're going to continue shipping the Super NES Classic Edition into 2018, that they'll be providing a plethora of stock on launch day, and to top this all off, they are bringing back the discontinued NES Classic next summer. So the NES Classic obviously launched last fall. It was discontinued in April of this year, and now it's coming back sometime summer 2018. It's just a very, I guess it's a feel-good move, but it's also odd considering where Virtual Console is at on Switch.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that they kind of went back on what they said earlier, that, oh, the NES Classic was going to be kind of a novelty item. They released it for, the holiday months, and then they discontinue it, and they were never bringing it back because they wanted it to be that special limited edition thing that you could only get in that 1 year. And now they're like, it was selling so well, and there's such a high demand for it that let's just bring it back and make some extra money. And now they're pumping out way more SNES Classics that I'm assuming they're not going to have for pre-order. They're just going to be in stock that you can just go pick up at your local store, which is very interesting that they went from like, oh, this is a very exclusive club that you try to get into, to, let's make as many as we can for everybody. But yes, it is also interesting that we still don't have Virtual Console. We haven't had any updates on Virtual Console for the Nintendo Switch, and they're now bringing more and more classic minis out into the market. And we were talking about before that, does this mean that Virtual Console on Switch and these classic minis are just totally non-related anymore, and they're just two separate entities? Because I can't imagine that they're bringing back they're gonna bring back more NES Classics and then be like push back Virtual Console for like another 6 months or a year. I feel like people want it so badly that they're gonna have to bring out Virtual Console in the near future, especially if they're planning on bringing the paid online feature and functionality early next year. I feel like the Virtual Console needs to come around that time, either launch with it or very soon after. So I feel like, to me, it seems like this classic mini train is on a totally different track than the Switch Virtual Console train.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely that has to be the case, right? I feel like these are no longer connected, and it's got to go one of two ways now. One, Virtual Console really isn't what we think, and it's just going to be tied into this games library that's associated with the Nintendo Online service launching next year. Or Virtual Console is coming, and Nintendo doesn't see these things directly competing with each other. I cannot foresee a situation where the Virtual Console launches next fall, like deep into year 2 of the Switch. It is interesting, like you mentioned, though, that they initially said, like, oh, we're canceling NES. It was meant to be a very limited thing. Psych, we're bringing it back. Earlier this week, Reggie said, like, don't pay more than $80 for the SNES Classic. You're going to get one. And that was met with, like, yeah, sure, Reggie, thanks for your PR speak. But now it seems like Nintendo is really trying to do that. I don't think they're going to do a second wave of pre-orders. I think they are just going to push that stock. And the fact that they're going to keep regular shipments coming into 2018, that's promising. So you can probably hold off on eBay purchases for now and wait and see. I'm sure it's still going to be lines. It's still going to be chaotic. It's still going to be a hard item to get. But I think, set aside the fact that they initially said this was like you said, exclusive club, this is the right move, right? Push these things out there. People want them. Nintendo more and more is making smart decisions, and I hope that that carries over to their Virtual Console plan, whatever it may be. We were just talking yesterday about how no chance Virtual Console hits in this direct, no chance that it's anytime soon because they do have the SNES Classic. I'm not so sure that they're linked. I don't know. Maybe Nintendo sees them as different markets, like that the people they're targeting with these are, not really interlinked at all.
Right. I was going to say that maybe they still view the classic minis as novelty items, not as exclusive anymore, but still novelty items, appealing to more of the older crowd who have, are getting them for nostalgic factor and not really, younger kids, getting them to play games that they missed out on, because I doubt many teenagers or young kids are clamoring to go backwards and play games that are kind of outdated now in terms of their features and functionality. But then they see the Nintendo Switch Virtual Console as a totally different market, like you were saying, because it's something that you can take anywhere. You can play it handheld mode on the go at any time if you download the games to your system. So then that would appeal to maybe a younger audience who hasn't played Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine or things like that before, and they are going to have that be something totally different in their minds, totally different market that towards the people who are owning Switches, who is, the kids, teens, early 20s crowd, for those games, and then have the all these classic minis, even if they go with an N64 classic mini, and have that be more in their minds a novelty item that's going to sit on people's shelf, more of a collector's item and a nostalgic factor for the older crowd, and not expect younger people to be purchasing all those and then be like, oh, I have this classic mini of SNES, so I'm not going to touch Switch Virtual Console. I think they're kind of separate in their minds.
Yeah, and that is a good point as well. Maybe they are planning a really bombastic Virtual Console launch that incorporates more GameCube stuff, and the NES, SNES stuff does factor into more of that games library, Nintendo Online. And so maybe they're taking an approach that we always wanted them to, didn't think they would, but maybe it's going to feel completely different.
I was gonna say one last thing. It would be really interesting if they kind of did a reverse Virtual Console. Instead of starting with NES and SNES games, they started with GameCube games and then slowly added the other games, but start with the big hitters out front. Would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be. It's like a Benjamin buttoning the Virtual Console, defying expectations. Exactly. They're gonna really surprise us all. I hope they do. Let us know if you're surprised by this new infusion of SNES Classic stock, the reintroduction of the NES Classic next summer, and what this might mean for Virtual Console. Give us your thoughts and theories in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. And until next time, for myself and Jake, Switch Force out.